successful and confident communicators. So yeah, we went through rapid ideation, and this included exploring like what the solution could be, like whether it's a chatbot or like an AI assistant, how it would sort of function. We also explored the value that it could bring to our users. So very specific user group with a very specific problem. So we wanted to definitely tailor our solution. And yeah, we explored competitors, and we also wanted to figure out a way to uh, uniquely position ourselves as a product. And yeah, with that, I think I'm happy to pass it on to Kenny to show you exactly what our solution is. Or Aaron, let me know what you guys exactly want to, how you guys want to proceed from here.
Well, I can quickly just interject. So we went through a couple of different possible formats, and in analyzing some of the options out there, we did make a decision to give our tool a name. We named it Nora, and Nora is our new workplace buddy. And we wanted to personalize this instead of giving it sort of a genic name, because we wanted the user to feel comfortable to interact with this the interface and on a communication level. So part of the solution we wanted to ensure was the user could actually practice communication skills, so have conversations. That was definitely part of what we wanted the solution to be, not just something in text, but something that also covered conversation and being able to practice that. So all of the prompt and problems that we saw was that there was lack of skill development. So how do you develop communication skills? So those were important things that we held on to as we developed our solution.
I'm kind
So
of
Kenny, I'll pass it over to you to show our quick prototype here.
Yeah. So all of us were pretty new to AI, so it was kind of quicker thing. We used Lovable, and we kind of gave it a prompt based on all of the things we were looking for and how we want to center it. So our idea is based on like an AI assistant app, kind of like a place where you can get help practicing communication and getting insights into how you talk. It also helps brief you like on what's going on at work today, so you can better be prepared, and it kind of like helps you practice for later on. So the name is Nora. You have an area where you can kind of practice different scenarios you would at a workplace and like chat with the bot. You can like have insights on what goes on in the day, so that way you can be prepared and like maybe have like tips on how to handle it. We had a progress tracker where it would give you like insights into how you're like changing your speech based on like the language that you're using with the bot. And then you can have an interview coach. We can have like an actual like video like call, like recording, where you can kind of practice your speech and it'll give you some insights. So we didn't get to go too in depth, but that's based on the solution that we had.
Okay. Miri, Kevin, any questions, clarifying questions for the team?
Because it's made on Lovable, are there any interactive parts out of curiosity?
We see that it has, like, if you press start here, it gives you, oh, situation. They missed a deadline, it affect your performance. You get guidance, you could start talking to it and get insight. We kind of worked with what it spit out. It was a little bit of a time deadline.
And the
Obviously,
free trial, being a little nervous to go past the free trial.
yeah, we had to work with the constraints of it being free.
Right,
But
like what?
that's mostly it.
But the idea was that if you had a conversation, it would record it just like a video call would. And so you would be able to actually practice in real time what your conversation was you could, and then the insights and the progress tracker could be on, what the summary, the AI summary was of the transcript. So you would always have a transcript to go back to. You could listen to the call to say, hey, how was my speech? Did I sound nervous? Things like that. So the video element was really important to our solution.
Very exciting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my first reaction is that this is a lot, and not sure which part of this in terms of the scenarios that would address the problem effectively in terms of the way that would be used on a day-to-day basis.
I think like a day-to-day basis, we mostly thought about it from like the daily briefing that we can be prepared, and like
Mm-hmm.
I think more of an individual thing that you would practice to kind of get you better equipped. We
Mm-hmm.
weren't like using it for like daily like chat to help you like every day, because we kind of thought there'd be different tools to facilitate that, but maybe like a thing that you can practice on your own to like help you whenever you need it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for like future iteration, I would expect to see that having higher visual hierarchy, more prominence. Like visually, I know that you guys didn't have the time.
Oh yeah, definitely. There definitely design opportunity.
Not only the visual though, but like in terms of right now it's very similar in terms of the weight, and the reason for that is I'm thinking that if I were to use this, I would be overwhelmed and scared because it's too
Mhm.
much, right? So something to like kind of slowly bring people, oh, I'm winning, I'm getting better at this. What does the progress look like? Because I love the skill development progress bar, the tracker, because that's something that I think the user would see and feel motivated to continue, right? Oh, I'm getting better at this.
Yeah,
Cool.
a good way to gamify it
Yep.
for Gen Z.
Mm-hmm. What's the percentage there?
This like
Mm-hmm.
these
What does
percentages.
what does 100% mean? Like 100% in confidence, what does that mean?
I think that was kind of based on like how the language sounds. I think, yeah, it was kind of like AI, the way that it interpreted that, but I think it's based on the language and how much you're like progressing to 100%. Not entirely sure, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's something that you need to be careful of when we're working with AI, because it shouldn't be a set number, right? Like your confidence, if it's 100%, that means that you're so into yourself, narcissistic. Is that what that means? Right? Because it's not like a set number. There's something to look out for, things like that. Cool. Thank you, guys. Calvin, you have any questions? Or
Sure, sure. Just one question. Like,
Mhm.
following up from what Danny mentioned, guys, we have a flat hierarchy here, so anyone looking at the screen might feel a bit overwhelmed. So just wondering if you guys would focus on a couple of features from this, make it prominent, what would that be and why?
That was my question as well.
Uh,
I think, for my opinion, they could also say what they would prefer. I would prefer like daily briefing and the like just general AI like coach thing to talk to. That way, I feel like those are the biggest features. Like you can be prepared every single day, and you can also like work with the bot directly, like the ways you individually want to. So I think those could be focused on if we could reiterate it.
I like that idea. I think there's also an opportunity here for personalization, depending on the user. So, for example, I think at the start of this like installation process, we could have like an onboarding that like asks the user, what do you want to focus on? And then based on their answers, it'll sort of configure this dashboard to best, visually present that like hierarchy.
Mhm.
And as you shift your progress and you improve on certain skills, you can shift what you're seeing. So the personalization element of it, the building skill development of it could be a variety of different skills that could shift what you're visualizing and what the Nora is asking you to focus on, right? Hey, you haven't practiced this week. Would you like to, could prompt you. It could say you have a meeting coming up. This is a chance to work on X, Y, and Z skill that you said you wanted to work on. So yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, yeah, that would be cool. Makes
Oh.
sense. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay, Miri, who's up next?
You too. I believe
Yeah,
it.
I think it's Anirudh. Yes,
Yes.
Anirudh, Malika, and Neha. All right, sorry if my video keeps cutting out. For some reason, it's just automatically shutting off. So I do not have control over that. I'm going to share my screen, go through the process of how we ended up where we did end up finally. All right, so first we started out with taking the entire prompt of what the persona is, what the problem is, and what the consequence and organizational disruption. We ended up having some basic ideas where we were ideating, after which we ended up using ChatGPT to ask it to suggest some ideas of how this can be solved. So we got like a big list from ChatGPT on things which it thinks are a good option. And we ended up selecting what we felt like were good features to have within something we create. And we kind of highlighted those and ended up taking those parts out to focus on the specific needs which we believe will be solved with this particular app or web app, etc. So at this stage, we weren't sure. So then we went through the phase of just discussing what would be ideas of how it would look like. Would it function like something like a Bonzi or a Clippy on the side versus something which is going to be there up front and center, always present? And we kind of went with the approach where it's like a web app, something similar to Grammarly, where it's one interface and then it has plugin integrations into your Slack, your Teams, etc., and kind of helps you and integrates with those particular functionality as required based on what the user kind of needs. We then went into like creating a scenario, again, with the help of AI, but again, we gave it the prompts to kind of come up with the scenario of how it would flow. And essentially, by this time we did decide on a name. The name of the app was Gen Z to Boomer Decoder, but we cut it down to just Gen Z to Boomer. And then we went through our quick scenario. So I'm gonna just go through this really quickly. So it's Dante's first job out of college. We did change the person later down the line. So in the prototype, you don't see Dante, but essentially Dante's first job out of college, and it's day 3 on the job, and they ask him to create some recurring timelines for an upcoming study. So his first draft in Slack was, hey, just checking in to see if you're cool with reaching out, doing that outreach thing for the participants, lol. And, then the app kind of has a small tooltip in the corner, which kind of gives you the suggestion of want to try this to make it more clear, confident, and kind of helps him be a little more professional. And then there are insights where the Shadow Buddy tool, which is a feature within this particular app, where, hey, notice you want this particular message got a quick response. You want to save this tone for your follow-up template, which was one of the ideas we had originally when we were coming up, where it kind of keeps track of conversations and kind of has a direction of how to speak and what might result in what. So going with that flow, we ended up going through designing having some more scenarios of week 2 internal presentation. So the AI mirror module kicks in, where it kind of helps with coaching, where you can practice, where the user can practice with the AI bot and kind of present their ideas and get feedback. And at post meeting and end result of a meeting, it kind of tracks how the personality kind of flowed and the social interactions flowed, and gives them like a good results. Okay, this is happening, kind of keeps track of how your overall tone, etc. is. So using all of these, we kind of came up with a prompt, which we then used 3 to 4. We used Claude, we used Lovable, we used Figma Make, we used UX Pilot to kind of come up with multiple variants of how this particular prompt, which kind of covers how the home page would look like, how the rewriter would look like, how the wipe check section would look like, the mirror section would look like. So we gave each of these prompts and kind of came up with a bunch of potential design ideas. We finally, after going through all the options, etc., we all kind of liked what the UX pilot came up with. So I'm gonna, these were some other alternative options on how some of the options we could have gone with, but we ended up going with the UX pilot side of things. Now, UX Pilot doesn't really make that much of an interactive prototype as Lovable, etc. But you do see some of the hover, the Slack rewriter, how it would look like to apply this to your Slack. Same thing with your Gmail Assistant, Team Assistant, and Chrome extension. We obviously were not able to design all the screens for each of those kind of scenarios, but this is your main dashboard. It kind of gives you like an overall tone score, which keeps going up and down based on what goal you've set for yourself, and any rewrites which the Gen Z to Boomer has done, any particular word changes which the user is constantly making mistakes on, which you want to rectify and improve. And it kind of integrates your calendar if you have the Teams assistant to kind of see what meetings you have so you can prepare for them. And any recent rewrites of what you've done, your tone trends, so you can keep track of how you're doing. So your overall goal is to have this as an assistant. So you eventually come to a state where you don't need to use something like this, right? So kind of helps you go towards that particular direction with the insights, and have a widget for particular options which they can do for any upcoming things. And in terms of some more interactivity, because we weren't able to figure out how to get the UX pilot screens to Figma until the last second, so not much interactivity, but this is the rewriter screen where it's sort of similar to Grammarly, where you can end up typing in a particular text and switch between different styles and set different tones, which will then let you see a result of how that would look like. You have the wipe check AI, which kind of gives you a little more context beforehand, so you get instant feedback on your messaging. So this is more of a chat bot kind of thing as opposed to rewriter, which is for longer emails, longer essays, etc. And then you have the mirror replace, which essentially lets you either practice and or provide a particular meeting which you've already gone through and get like a transcript of what is happening and what you can improve upon. So it all kind of ties back into the dashboard again, where it has all the information which you might need to kind of get started. So it's not too intrusive and you can come back to it. I would like Neha and Malika to kind of chime in and cover anything which I might have missed.
Yeah, just like nothing much, but just to add on in this was like Anirudh mentioned, we wanted this to be a handy thing for any user. So we came up with this idea of making it as a plugin or, a go-to tool for people. So we wanted to make it like a chat bot, like a tiny feature, but in this time we couldn't make it. But yeah, that was the idea behind making this.
Mm-hmm. Malika, you have anything to add?
Yeah, just to add, like when we were coming up with potential designs, we sort of had the approach where we like divided and conquered. So we had like different AI tools. So like we were like each testing them out, and some of them took longer to load than others. But then we basically compared, and I think like Anurad said that we decided to go with the one from UX Pilot because we all agreed upon that. It had the best UI in addition to like UX. So I think we thought that while it was highly detailed, it offered the most accurate features based on what we had like set out in the prompt. And I think Anurad went over them, like rewriter, vibe check AI, and mirror replays on the dashboard in the left, which is like fairly intuitive. So if the user, wants to rewrite a full essay, then he can go to rewriter. If he just wants to check like, a short conversation, vibe check AI, and mirror replays is good for just testing your speaking skills, like practicing your charisma. So like the 3 core features are laid out in the navigation menu on the left-hand side.
Okay, so the question that I have is how does this help with the in-person communication, verbal? Is it through that mirror recording thing? Is that the way you guys solve that?
Yes.
Yes.
So that solves mirror replaces for more in-person presentations and or Zoom-based presentations where the user is preparing beforehand so they can present, etc., and also use the same transcript or videos of a past meeting to do an analysis after, which was one of our features which we originally discussed.
Okay, thank you. Kabin, Miri?
Just one question. So you guys mentioned, like, I guess Malika explained that a bit, but I just wanted to drill down and understand this. So you have 2 sections for rewriter and the AI bot.
Mhm.
Can you just walk me through why is that divided into 2 sections?
So rewriter felt more like a longer
Like essays. It's like
Yeah.
more like if you want to paste like, an entire essay, like if you're working on, a draft for your meeting, you can actually paste it in there and then it will rewrite it. So it's more like for long form content, whereas Vibe Check AI is more of like a chat bot. So it's like just like a phrase could be corrected.
Yeah, and or you can chat with it to be like, okay, this is kind of give some more context. I think it's better that I pull up the like Figma side of things. So the
You can
vibe,
give them the sample or one of like what is the phrase that the user inputs?
yeah.
I think there are some slides at the bottom if you want to use
Oh, yes.
example
Sorry,
from there.
I completely forgot about the slides, which
Yeah.
we last minute prepared again.
There's one example. Yeah.
Yeah, so the example is like, I don't know if
I
this
don't know.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And that vibe checker would kind of direct the user and give it more feedback on, okay, this is the particular way to write it and why, and kind of give some more reason in a chat format, as opposed to when you give it an entire documentation, you can just easily change the tone of it and rewrite that, as opposed to getting feedback on every single line for an entire document would be a lot longer and harder to do.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, cool. Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
nice. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, room 3.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Alexandra. Our team is so excited to introduce you to MentorBot, your AI chatbot coach designed to help Gen Zs. And We know that it's not just about getting the job, it's about keeping the job. So the truth is 60% of Gen Z hires are let go in their first year, not because they lack the talent, but because they struggle with communication in the workplace. So maybe they weren't taught how to give feedback, how to ask for help, how to navigate those awkward team conversations. And traditional training, going through modules, sitting with a mentor, it's boring, corporate, it's easy to ignore. That's why we created MentorBot. It's a gamified mobile-first app that turns real workplace scenarios into fast, fun, and feedback-rich moments with an AI-powered video coach. Whether you're prepping for an interview, learning how to speak up in meetings, or just trying not to over-apologize in Slack, MentorBot's got your back. And it makes learning actually feel good. Let's walk you through the data, our process, and show you how it works. Suyen, handing it over to you.
Thank you so much. I am going to share my screen. And hopefully you can see it. So here is our slide deck. It's Generation Z in the workforce, overcoming the communication barriers for success. And we're moving on. So we have all our stats on the new workforce majority and weighting. And again, we are focusing on the workplace integration failure, right? Gen Z professionals who have difficulty with face-to-face workplace communication. They have more of a digital upbringing, so they're raised on texting, DMs, emojis, and short form social media. They prefer informal, concise, and visual communication styles. The workplace reality is their formal emails, their structured dialogue, and traditional meeting formats that may seem unfamiliar or uncomfortable. There is also the attention span challenge. So we need to make sure our communication is clear, concise, and engaging to effectively reach all Gen Z employees. And this is what we can do to bridge the gap. Set clear expectations, diversify the communication, and provide regular feedback. Giving a 90-day structure, we can absolutely get everyone on board and retain them. So the tools that we used was ChatGPT and Magic Patterns, as you can see over here on the right. And we also used Claude, which actually came up with more of an MVP that we used. We have the gamified learning experience, we have our interactive practice scenarios, and we have our progress tracking skills. And hopefully if it shares correctly, you can see a quick wireframe of what Claude came up with. And hopefully it switch back again. And we had also used Lovable. And we had some constraints as we worked through this. So we had different design approaches. So all three of us came together so that we can sit there by consensus, be able to work. We had timeline, of course, as everyone else did, and some technical difficulties, even though we had shared different things like Gamma. This slide presentation is created in Gamma. It did not share correctly. So a lot of times that does not work well. So here is our MentorBot. It has real workplace situations, receiving feedback, intros, video calls, and conflict resolution. It has interactive practice scenarios. It has the skills progress tracking for digital communication, feedback reception, and conflict resolution. And I turn this over to Jeremy. I'm going to stop sharing.
Great. So we took those wireframes, brought them into Lovable, and started building them out from here. So first off, we were thinking, how is Gen Z going to use this? And we wanted to build for mobile first, figuring they could use it on the couch, on the subway, on the toilet, wherever Gen Z uses their phone, rather than picking up, like setting up their laptop. This could be easy and fun for them. So two main use cases, basically learn and then practice. So we have some learning scenarios here, which we'll click into in a second. And this is a gamified multiple choice test of how to interact in the workplace with different levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced. And then we also have an AI video coach, which would give real-time feedback on things like body language, eye contact, etc., based on the type of meeting. So let's click into the first one, like how do you navigate a difficult conversation? And again, this is multiple choice gamified. So the meeting has started, your manager says, let's have our team member introduce themselves. What's your opening line? If you say something like, hey guys, what's up? It's going to tell you like, that's not quite right. The best answer is good morning. I'm Jeremy. I'm looking forward to contributing, etc. As you progress, you get points. We were thinking, how do we incentivize and keep Gen Z engaged? Also, another maybe persona or customer we haven't really talked about is the employer. Like the employer wants them to upskill just as much as the employee. So maybe there could be some sort of sponsorship where the more Gen Z is using it, the more they could trade it in for coffee credits or gaming credits, things like that. And then lastly, I'll click into the AI video coach. So we could start a video session. You could pick what type of conversation you want to have, a job interview, a team meeting, a typical conversation. Let's just pick receiving feedback. And then you can see we have a little mock-up here of real video working with an AI bot, and then a conversation transcript of the AI coach kind of leading you through that conversation and giving you real-time feedback on things like good eye contact, but you need to speak louder, maybe use some more gestures and use clearer speech, things like that. And we'll hang up, go back to the home screen, and see our progress. Just one last thing, we do have a skills progress here as well, and other achievements, placeholders there to keep them engaged. Oh, and lastly, we wanted to use some Gen Z language. So I think we had originally like, grow your professional skills, learn how to be a better communicator. They're like, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to get a job, keep a job, and crush. So that's where we came up with that subheader.
I have one question. I see the progress there, XP progress. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so this is really just a count of points. So like the more courses you take and scenarios you do, you get more points. We wanted to make it like a video game, and then you could trade in those points for any perks, digital or real world.
Nice. Kevin?
I see that you guys have gone towards a mobile friendly application, and I get it, Jeremy, when you explain Gen Z would prefer looking at this from couch, etc. So that makes sense. But one context is you might not be allowed to use your mobile during a meeting. And how would you tackle those situations? And could you explain or walk me through the process why you chose a mobile first application?
Sure. So rest of the group, feel free to jump in as well, but I don't think we were envisioning someone using this during a meeting. They would be using it before to prep for the meeting. So that not being able to use mobile in a meeting wouldn't be an issue.
Mm-hmm. And
especially, I was going to say, especially in this day and age when we're integrating, Otter AI and other transcript note takers and Notion, like we want those things to be accessible. So future iterations could potentially take whatever was, they could record that meeting, and then maybe that AI chatbot can give you feedback on how you did in that meeting and what you can improve on for the next time around.
Interesting. Mary, you have any other questions?
Out of curiosity, as Danny was asking, there is like an XP, and then you fill this bar and you're able to use it as credit. I'm like curious, just like from a conceptual point of view, at like what point you would graduate from using this. Would it be, just the user's choice, or is there some, like larger goal that they're trying to achieve?
It's a good question. Anyone want to jump in?
I think when we were talking about it, it was kind of that, I know we initially said 90-day onboarding, but also it could be your mentor or your manager sets those expectations, and once you reach those, you will be graduated from that module, that level, and then eventually from that program. So it's something where, the manager has it as a toolkit that they can offer where they've gone through the 90 days, but now they're 6 months in and they're starting to backslide. How can we re-engage them in the work, and how can we ensure that they're on it's kind of like in education when you need a learning support plan and you need strategic scaffolded resources to help meet those benchmarks and get the user where they need to be, or get the employee where they need to be. So they could offer that as well. And it could be, you know, another side of this could be the mentor facing or the management facing side. They can track the progress and they can decide when they have met those benchmarks.
Yeah, so it'd be kind of like a tier system where you have like the leadership skills and conflict resolution classes and different scenarios that you could use.
Very cool. Okay, so we're over. So what we're gonna do now, Kevin and I will go to a separate room to discuss the judging part. We'll come back. In the meantime, for a minute or two, Miri is the MC. You guys can chat among yourself. I think one thing that would be good to discuss is like what worked, what didn't work, so you guys can learn from one another, right? So as you can see, different groups have different approaches. So with that, I'm gonna open the room. Kevin, let's chat.
That was so cool. Thank you guys so much. I feel like, you know, I learned so much seeing all of your processes, and it was really really fascinating to also watch it, you know, as you were working in real time and how everyone approached it so differently. Was there anything that for you guys that really stood out when you saw other people's presentations or from working with one another?
I feel like each of the groups used AI that I've never heard of. So I would really like for you to share with us after this is all over, like what all was used and some links to some of those tools so that we could all try them out. I mean, that was part of what today was about. And I felt like we were trying to come up with solutions, but not really knowing what the options were. And so I think there was some really great innovation using some of these things with the other teams. So yeah, I would love to see that.
Why doesn't
Absolutely.
everyone drop their LinkedIn
Yes.
URL and we can connect and chat more about it?
Perfect.
Yeah, it's so cool that, you know, as a big group, everyone tackled the same challenge too. So even though you weren't in the same group as someone else, you kind of understand the process they went through and can see the differences in that. So it's really cool that, yeah, you could completely talk to one another still, even if you weren't on the same team after this. Thank you for initiating the LinkedIn swap.
I'd also say there's like a big distinction between, I know we already touched on it, but between the free versions and a paid subscription. Like, I don't think we would have gotten nearly as far with the MVP if Jeremy didn't have that. I know it was a trial, he said, but having that paid subscription, because even in the beginning, we were playing around with trying to generate it on some of the other ones with the free versions that I had, and it was nowhere near what Jeremy was able to produce with Lovable.
So it's like almost like a preview of what's possible if you do like pay for those tiered subscriptions.
Yeah.
Oh,
is that I just wanted to mention that at least I had a little bit of problem with like the loading time for some of the AI tools. Like I was testing out a prototype in Lovable and then in Figma Make. So I know that it's important to make sure you have like only a limited number of files open, or you know, links open, because if you have too much open, then it like delays the loading time. And I know that can be an issue, especially when there's a time constraint like in the hackathon.
so that could be something in the future that would be good to just initially do, like just close out everything else. Yeah. That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, I feel like if we were I feel like we were at a point where we were half hour remaining is when our design started coming to life, because we were focused so much on kind of how the prompt engineering aspect of it. And then we were like, okay, we don't know which app is going to do the job well. So we all spread out and we were trying out different things and trying to see if, I mean, now that I've had like 10 extra minutes, I was able to find out how Lovable can import like screenshots of something we liked, like the design from UX Pilot. The design aspect of things were better. So we could take that and give it to Lovable and be like, make this instead, as opposed to come up with your own rendition, which again, it because of its AI, what it's trained on, etc., the designs which it creates are very similar, no matter what kind of app you ask it to create. So yeah, having a good base design seems like a good way to go as well. And yeah, the lovable presentation was like great in the end, like the app
Absolutely,
featuring and the video, when you click the video and you could see your video, I'm like,
that was so cool.
yeah. We weren't able to find like a good AI presentation creator until like the last second, and then
Yeah, last 5 minutes. Yeah, which
yeah.
we started the presentation with like 10 minutes left, which was I think now looking back, I think we would have probably tried to start that like almost half an hour before, because I think there's limited.
Yeah. So one thing that is always helpful is this is something with Suyan, you're gonna get sick of hearing this. Start with end goal in mind. Always start with the end. Now, with that, I'm actually impressed by all teams because you guys got to the end. All of you, right? All of you got to the end. So you should be proud. And with that, I'm gonna give it to Kevin to announce the winner and also some tips for the future.
Thanks, Danny, and for the moment of truth. So it's room 3. Alexandra, Jeremy, and so yeah, congratulations, guys. Your presentation was great, and you've tried out multiple different things from Claude wireframes and then moving on to Lovable with the interactive prototypes was just exciting, and it was just awesome for the given time frame. And something I'd like to add for the other teams is that, like Danny mentioned, given this time frame, probably the traditional UX process might not work. So you might have to try a different route. And yeah, just Lovable is a great tool, and you should give it a try. And probably you could meet up through the virtual lunch. And Danny always talks about it, so that should be helpful. And some other pointers, it's just getting to use AI more. You could just rather than having to discuss the problems by ourselves, given the problem statement was more defined, you could have let AI do the job while you guys were discussing. That could have given you more direction as to where you could have went with the features or competitive analysis, etc. So that was my take. And Denny, back to you.
Thank you. So just to add to that, one thing that has changed dramatically with AI is that, okay, so just quick show of hands. How many of you are familiar with the double diamond process? Okay, most of you. So double diamond is like first you diverge, right? And then with the time box, and then you converge. With AI, with Gen AI, the diverge part, this part becomes really short. So the converge is where we need to spend more time. That's what Kevin is talking about, and learn how to actually choose the options and figure out what you don't want to include would be key in this process. But with that, any questions from anyone? No? Thoughts, comments? Oh, go ahead, Kenny.
I guess just a off the mind question. Like I came here because I didn't really know anything about AI, and I kind of wanted the experience of working with tools and seeing how it is in a team. But I guess like just looking at the future, like how should we be thinking about utilizing this? Like for the context of today, it was very helpful for like idea ideation and like making quick prototypes and stuff. So like, is it more like for making like quick ideas of what we want first before we start designing fully, or is it more like we're going to have to learn how to design around AI and like fully with it integrated and learn how to use it like that?
So you can actually inject it in every single step of the way. You can have AI help you every single step of the way. That said, though, the reason why I kept emphasizing on like, okay, make sure you know what goes in there is because our brain gets lazy by default and just like, ah, that looks good, that looks smart, okay, right? So that's the thing that you need to be aware of, the atrophy. But that said, in generation, in like evaluation, the whole thing, you can use it now. From the people who completed my course, Suyen can testify to this. Every single person said that their speed of completing things, of getting things done, has gone up by at least 3 to 5%. I mean, not 5, by 3 to 5x, 300 to 500% using AI tools, right? And that's not even surprising anymore. Like the thing that the room 3 was able to do in 1.5 hours with like traditional tool, they would have taken weeks, right? That's not even like 3 to 5x. It's like thousands of x. I mean, like it's like so much. So the thing is that we need to change the way we actually work with the computer, with the tool. So it's not about the tools anymore, Kenny. It's about the workflow. But the most important thing for you to focus on is what won't change as opposed to what continue to change. What won't change is that the underlying design process doesn't change, because if you listen to like the presentation of every single team, they follow the same process, right? It's the same process, but then they just injected the AI tools in the right way and use it. And they, to be fair, maybe I think the room 3 has more skill in AI, working with AI. That's pretty obvious to me. Not only do they know the tools, but they know how to work with the tools, so they can jump around really quickly, right? This is why Kevin said that work with AI as much as you can, beyond just like text editing, but try to find, like, for example, one of the things that we do in class is that I ask the students to open the fridge with one of the apps, and then like have the camera thing say like, okay, what should I make? And have the AI help you make a recipe. So stuff like that. Then you can apply that to design also, right? So for example, you're testing it different way, and then like prototyping differently. I know I'm like just rambling at this point. I hope that kind of address your question, Kenny.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So I have to think about how to integrate it into how I design a lot more. So I'll try to like think about all the different tools used and how to like learn how to get better at them.
Yeah, the biggest thing that if nothing else, what I want you guys to take away from this is that get to building as fast as possible so you can start evaluating as fast as possible. Because that's where the UX people will differentiate ourselves and become the competitive edge for companies. Because everybody can build now, but evaluation based on understanding and empathy of the human needs, human desire, all the behavior, that's us. So we need to, as much as possible, highlight that. There's no reason not to use the test. Highlight that, highlight that, highlight that. So the companies will see that, oh, that's the path to profit, aka more salary for you, more opportunities for the field, right?
I think opportunities like this as well to practice is just like very low stakes. It's also in a very, different context than things that you might be working on. And it's a great way to flex those muscles. And I'm sure like if you were to do it again, you would have learned from this one and do it differently. Like and be like, oh, like maybe I want to get a Lovable subscription and like play around with that. So yeah, I hope, to see you guys again and see all the cool ways continue to build on the skills you developed today. And I will definitely be sharing out links to all the tools that everyone used. And so you actually know what they're capable of.
Yeah, a couple of things. The first one is that after this, I highly encourage you guys to post on LinkedIn what you learn, what you experience, to start positioning you guys as that. That way you will behave accordingly. You will start adopting this because you're like, oh, everybody in my network now knows that I'm the AI UX person. Crap, then I need to continue evolving. I need to continue learning. So you're adding that pressure is actually good. That's what I did for myself, and it's been working, right? So that's number one. Number two, we're gonna be doing this, I think once a month now. Miri, that's the idea, right? So come join, and you should be proud of yourself, especially for those of you who haven't used this much. You've learned a lot and you've experienced a lot. You're probably way more aware than, I would say, more than 60% of UX designers out there. So you should feel good about that, but don't stop here, obviously, right? So those are the two things. And then also, forgot last thing. If you want to speed up your process integrating AI into the UX process, a plug, I have a course which start in September and it's already going now. With that, any other last comments, thoughts, questions before we end?
I think we should take a group shot if everyone's
Yeah.
comfortable.
Go ahead, Miri.
Okay. Let's see. All right, I'll do a countdown so you're not surprised. 3, 2, 1. Some of those might not have gone in there.
Okay, well, thank you everyone, and feel free to connect on LinkedIn. I think you guys did that already, right? Cool. Thank you, Kevin and Miri, for running
Thank
this.
you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Take
Thank
care.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting you all.
Yeah.
Thanks.